Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 89 in Deuteronomy. We're going to review today, and I'm going to tell two stories. I've told them both before, but they're both worth hearing. It's going to be titled From 26,242 Days of Rebellion to Sharing Peaches. So the story starts with a friend, and he tells us that he basically had 26,000 days of rebellion against God. And then when he was 70-something years old, his heart turned, and the Lord helped him turn because he sort of had this message from God. So what if there's a message to humans written by the finger of God? And in Exodus 31, it talks about when God finished speaking with Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave him 2 tablets with the 10 Commandments on it, tablets of stone, and they were written with the finger of God. And I just love the detail that it was written by the finger of God. It's sort of like a baby incarnation. Incarnation was when God comes and visits us, and the big one, of course, is with Jesus. So he takes a stone from his world and a finger, or a stone from our world and a finger from his world, contacts them together, and then he writes the word that tells us so much about himself as well as tells us about us. It tells us about him, that he's just, he invented the family, he cares what you do about your zipper, he cares what you do with your worship, with your time, with your desires. It also reveals some prohibitions about our inclinations and our sinfulness and our desperate need of him. Okay, so back to the story. Right when that happens, at the exact moment, meantime, the people of God are misbehaving spiritually and probably sexually with this whole golden calf misworship freak-off thing that they're having. And the exact timing, the exact picture is that is when the 10 Commandments are given to Moses. So then Moses intercedes, which that's when you ask for another when they cannot ask for themselves, and remember another's when they have forgotten. And he stands before the Lord on another's behalf. And God answers, and what a kind and patient and wonderful God we have, who could have just smited his friends, the Israelites. But no, the Lord comes down, and in the New Testament, the Jesus comes down and kind of takes our penalty, and Jesus himself lives to intercede just like Moses did. In Hebrews chapter 7, verse 25, it says that he is able to save, he, Jesus, is able to save to the uttermost those who draw near to God through him, since he always lives to intercede for them. So the Israelites need Moses to intercede, and he's just a shadow of the things to come. We really need Jesus to intercede for us, to instruct us, to help us. So the big point here is that the Lord has been doing this for 3,500 years. This is his covenant. This recalls his covenant and his special relationship with Abraham, and the most important part of the covenant is the heart. Circumcise your heart, because God is holy and we must reverence him and his activity. All right, so the second picture I want to leave you with is peaches. And one of the things that we can do to honor his word is like peaches, which is to lay up the words of mine in your heart, in your soul. The Lord tells the Israelites to do that. That is, make a response regarding the valuable communication from God. What are you going to do with it? You're going to gather it when you can get it and save it. It's like canning peaches. It's like laying up peaches. So there's a season when it seems that like there's nothing but peaches. Beautiful time here in the summer. And at one time, every good farmer of peaches says, what am I going to do with all these peaches? Times are good, the abundance of your presence and your word, Lord. So what does a good farmer do? Well, he eats as many as he can, he shares as many as he can, and then he saves them. He lays them up for a future date. He puts them in a special and safe place for a day of scarcity, a day of hardship, a day where there is not a bountiful harvest. So the Christian relationship with the Bible and with God is like saving peaches. There's nothing better than a fresh peach, and it's great to have a diet of fresh peaches, but every day won't be like today. There's going to be days of difficulty, days of winter. So the Christian looks ahead. Not every day is going to be like late summer of peach harvest. So some days there will be no sunshine, no warmth, no big harvest. But if you do this correctly, it won't be a day without peaches. So you treasure the peaches of today and you lay aside peaches for tomorrow. Lay them up. Put them in your heart. Put them in your soul. Recognize that this might be a day of abundance and understand the responsibility you have to lay them up. And then think about others who are in a season of winter right now. That might be you, or it might be somebody in your community. And if you're not in community, you get to one. There's no call for Christianity that's not a call to Christian fellowship. And there's no call to the person of God that's also not a call to the people of God. So how do you know that you're in Christian community? Well, Peaches. And it's not, hi, how are you kind of fellowship. It's like you realize that person's out of peaches, and they, or maybe vice versa, they recognize that you need a peach or two. So the storehouse of peaches is not your peach collection, it's the community collection of peaches. So fellowship means that when you harvest and put up peaches, you're not alone, and you get the strength and vitality of peaches together. Why? Again, because every day will not be full of peaches, and at some point you're going to need to use the peaches that you and yours have laid aside for that day. So you got to recognize the value of them, God's treasured word, we got to hold on to it. And then also the reality of light, that every day is not a day of peaches. So these are the day when peaches, the fruit of God's word, were laid up in your heart, in soul, in the context of Christian community. So go today, lay up some peaches in your heart and soul for a day of future scarcity. Because some days there will be no sunshine, there will be no warmth, there will be no harvest. But if you do this correctly and lay aside yourself and lay aside in community, it will not be a day without peaches. So don't let this be a day of rebellion. Remember, my friend, he had 26,000 days of rebellion. Don't let that be you today. Respond, eat a peach, save a peach, and then share a peach in community. Thanks for listening.